What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another video and to another monthly wrap-up. I know I'm gonna sound like every broken record out there, but I cannot believe July is over. I cannot believe we're in August right now. Like, this year is going by so much faster than I anticipated. And you want to know what it is? It's because I joined YouTube. It's because I look forward to my monthly wrap-up. I feel like because I'm trying to hit my monthly goal of 4 books a month, time is even going faster. Like, there's not enough time to read, despite it being summer and I wasn't driving around like a mad woman. I wasn't doing drop-offs or pick-offs. However, time was still going by so very fast. So I digress. Here we are. Let's get into our monthly wrap-up for July. So I have 4 books here. Actually, there's 5. I read 4 physical books and then I read 1 on my Kindle. So we're just going to jump right in. The first book I have here is One of Us Dead by Geneva Rose. This was a okay read. You guys know that I'm looking for a really good psychological thriller, right? And unfortunately, this book did not do it. However, it is a good read. Now, this book right here talks about 4 frenemies of Buckhead. Now, in these chapters, you're getting 4 different point of views, but don't worry, Geneva Rose did a really good job of making the characters so very different that it's super easy to comprehend which chapter you're reading. Even if you're like 2-3 pages in and you get a little confused, trust me, as you get farther into the book, you'll know who's talking. Now, I don't want to spoil it for you because I'm afraid that I might, but I do want to say, yes, a murder does take place in this book. It took me maybe this much to figure out what was going on. Everything else was just chaotic, a toxic relationship between the ladies. It was disgusting. It was hard to read. And at some points I got annoyed because in real life, if I've ever seen that in person, I would walk away. If it was on a TV show, I would literally change the channel. For me to find out what happened, I had to read the book. So it was kind of hard for me to power through, but I did it. I will say that these ladies are so intense, you guys. They're so intense, but I could not put the book down. I could not put the book down because I needed to know who did it, and who got murdered. You know what I mean? So take with that what you will, but it was an okay book. Next book I have here is Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. This book, you guys, Abby freaking Jimenez, you guys, what do I say? I truly don't know how she does it. She is such a phenomenal writer. She has a fun way of including some really hard topics and making it into a rom-com way. You know what I mean? Making it super relatable and ear-catching or eye-catching to the reader. I think that's so cool. Such a cool talent to have. And y'all, this was such a great book. This one follows Justin and Emma. And Justin feels he has this curse that every time he dates a girl, they break up, she ends up finding her husband, her perfect soulmate. So he posts this post on Reddit, kind of like a little chat line or whatever. He posts it there, and then Emma sees it and she's like, hey, me too. What are the odds, you know? And they start talking, and the rest is just beautiful, disastrous, heartbreaking, heart swooning, found family. Let me tell you, it was just really, really good. I did not expect so many heavy topics coming from here. Just know that this will hit you in the feels unexpectedly, and it was really good. It was so good. Yeah, so good. Next one we have here is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. You guys. You guys, this one took me by complete surprise. Wow. So this one right here follows Ford and Rosalind. Ford was just named the hottest billionaire, ladies, and he cannot take the attention. He's not a fan of the attention. He's not a fan of the paparazzi, nothing like that. So he goes, you know what? I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of town. So he goes back to his old town, Rose Hill, okay? Rosalind just loses her job in the most fudged up way, okay? Loses her job and says, you know what? I'm just gonna get away for a little bit and go back to Rose Hill. What are the odds? What are the odds? So these little frenemies run into each other. He comes over, or she ends up going over to go see her brother, and it turns out that he opens the door. Why? Because that's her brother's best friend. And he opens the door and he's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. Oh my God, you're so scruffy and manly. Y'all, the rest is history. When I tell you this is the raunchy, girl, I have not, This book is so nasty. It was so good. Now, here's what bothered me about the book. So when you have your contemporary romances, when you have your rom-coms, there's always some type of romantic conflict, right? That drifts the two main characters apart and then bring them back together. This one in here made absolutely no sense. Yes, the context was surrounding the storyline. However, it's like Elsie was like, I ran out of ideas. I ain't got no conflict. Let me just throw that one in there. And then, you know, let me have her pissed off and shove him away, and then maybe this will make sense. No, girl. The conflict made absolutely just no sense whatsoever. I wish it was a little bit more deeper, a little bit more serious. Other than that, the next book we have here is A Summer Fridays. And the reason why I'm cheesing so hard right now is because this book completely took me by surprise. This is a sweet, sad romance dated back in 1999 and is very nostalgic. This was before cell phones came out, when they were using AOL chat and AIM chat and all the things. Super nostalgic reading this book. Now, this one right here, you guys, I have been truly blessed with this read, and I will tell you why. Have you ever read a book and said, man, that was a good read. I wish it would have ended this way. Or what would happen if the character did this? How would it change the story? You know, I like this book, but I actually would have changed the beginning and maybe changed a little bit of the middle, and then it would have made sense, right? Have you ever had that experience with your book? This right here, you guys, oh my God. This right here is the baby, hear me out, is the baby. A Funny Story by Emily Henry and Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. What luck do I have just reading those two books last month and finally reading this one and having it be the perfect combination of those two. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory on this one, and then you're going to hear the resemblance for Funny Story and Evidence of the Affair, right? So this one talks about Sawyer and Charles. Sawyer is working at a publishing agency. She's kind of like an assistant, and Charles is a partner at his law firm. Now, Sawyer has been feeling that within their relationship, they've been drifting apart. She can't put her finger on it. Something weird's going on. She's losing her fiance a little bit. They've just been drifting apart. So they go to his law firm's party dinner, and they're kind of mingling, and she's seeing Charles mingle within a few of the groups until he starts mingling with Kendra, one of the associates there. And she's just like, that's interesting. So then out of nowhere, I'm telling you, it's just weird. Out of nowhere, Kendra's boyfriend walks up to Sawyer and says, hey, I think that my girlfriend is having an affair with your fiance. Sawyer's like, who are you? Why would you tell me this? Why are you gonna go snitch on your girl? Like, that's just weird. What are you doing? Fast forward now, Nick and Sawyer are trying to figure out if their partners in fact cheated. They don't know. They're running with speculation. They're trying to correlate times where she's going, where he's going. And even though they're doing that, they're finding solace in each other and talking to each other and kind of like falling for each other. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Crazy. This book was so good. The only thing that I would say I didn't like about this book is that Sawyer, girl, if I ever suspected my husband, my fiance, my partner was just like not doing the right thing, talking to someone, I had this inclination that he's, sleeping around, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna have that grown-up conversation with him. She decided not to do that and just confide in Nick when you could have just talked to your mans. You know what I'm saying? And the whole story would have played out differently if she had done that too. But anywho, this was a really good read. I got the closure that I needed from Funny Story and Evidence of the Affair. Now, the last book that I have here is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I was definitely in a reading mood when I read this book right here. I unconsciously was reading some romances, as you guys can tell, and also one psychological thriller. And I was like, listen, my month is not complete without a fantasy, but you know what? I want to read on my Kindle because I've really been loving reading on my Kindle. So I went ahead and started going through my Kindle Unlimited catalog, and I saw The Cruel Prince, and I was like, okay, cool, let me check out the prologue. Read the prologue, you guys. that prologue sucked me in, let me tell you. Now, when it comes to fantasies, okay, hear me out. I'm so intrigued with fantasies when it comes to the humans and the fays and how the humans get sucked into the fae world. How do they get there? And with this prologue, it was so interesting because I haven't read anything like this before. Now, this one talks about Jude, and Jude was 7 years old when her parents were murdered in her home by this ogre-looking guy. So this dude takes the kids, which is her and her sisters, back to the High Court of Fae, where they now live. Fast forward 10 years later, Jude is like, why me? Why my parents? Why is this happening to me? While she's battling these internal feelings and having all these unanswered questions, she also has this really strong desire to be a part of the High Court. She wants to be one of the soldiers there. She wants to serve in the High Court. The only problem is this High Court of Fae despises humans. Like, literally despises them. And I'm just like, girl, why do you want to do this? Like, why do you want to be a part of this world? Like, her sister's like, girl, we can go. We can leave. We can go back to the human world. We can sneak away. Like, why are we here? She's like, no, I'm very intrigued with this world. I was meant to be here. I was meant to serve. But I hate the ogre guy who, you know, killed my parents, but I also love him like a dad. She's battling so much feelings and it's crazy. Here's where I'm a little conflicted. I didn't realize to the end of the book that this was a YA book, and I have nothing against YA books. I enjoyed Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, nothing against it. But the character Jude just came off really whiny and always thinking about herself and wanted to do things for herself and didn't understand things and was really pursuing her own desires. Towards the end, there was a little bit of character development, and I appreciated that. If you read this series, please let me know. The second book in the series, does it get better? Is there more character development? Help me out here, because as of right now, I wouldn't continue the series. I wouldn't bat an eye. I would not lose any sleep over it. But if it gets better, you let me know and I will go ahead and continue reading the book. But that is it, you guys. That is it for our July wrap up. If you have read any of the books that I read last month, what were your takeaways from it? What were your thoughts? Meet me in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. And until the next video, bye for now.